Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this video on class intervals and how we find them. So obviously when you have to work with grouped data, you're going to have to realize how you can make your groupings. And that's where we call class intervals. Now to make a class interval, the first thing you're going to have to find is your range. So number one, find your range. Now your range is found by doing your max minus your min. So in this case, my maximum number here seems to be 82. And my smallest number seems to be the 30. Is that right? Let's do a final roundup here. Yup, it should be 30. So you're going to have 82 minus 30, which should be 52. Okay, so that's our range. The second thing you're going to do is you're going to determine how many groups, or as we call them, number of classes. Now this comes from a general rule of thumb, and the general rule of thumb is if you have a sample size of up to 50, you're going to want 5 to 7 classes. If I have between, well, if you have 50 to 100, you're going to want 8 to 10. And if you want 100 to 250, you're going to want 10 to 15. And finally, if you have greater than 250, you're going to want 15 to 20. So this is just a general rule of thumb. Okay, so in this case we have 30 pieces of data. So 30 pieces of data certainly falls within this first one, so we should have 5 to 7. So let's see what makes sense. Your third step here, as the last step, is to use this formula. And the formula is you take the range and you divide it by the number of classes. And it's really up to you to determine what number of classes you want to do. In this case, I'm probably going to go with 6 or 5. It's really up to you in this case. I'm going to go with, well, if you see here, the range is 52. So you can go with 5, you can go with 6, you can go with 7. Use your gut here. Just want to make sure that you're showing the important pieces of data here. So I'm going to go with 6 just so I can get a wider array here. So 52 divided by 6. It's going to be a big, huge decimal number. Don't really want that, actually. So I'm going to change that to a 5. Because 52 divided by 5 is 10.4. So what does this mean? Well, you always want to start, so now when you're making your class intervals now, you start from minimum, and you should end with your max. So remember, I want 5 groups. So let's put our interval here, and let's put our frequency here. Okay, so let's do this. So our intervals, we're going to start from our minimum, and our minimum was 30. So 30 and you want to go towards 10.4 of a difference. So you add 10.4 to 30. So 30 plus 10.4 is going to give you 40.4. Now here is where the difference comes depending on your type of data. If you have a discrete type of data, remember a discrete type of data is the data that doesn't change. So if I told you the Raptors had 82 games last year, if I ask you 10 years later how many wins did they have, they still had 82 wins. So that is a discrete type of data. Continuous, on the other hand, is data that changes, and that's usually any kind of measurements, biology, because if I told you temperatures, they usually change. So this grouping of data actually was temperatures taken around the world. So these are temperatures, which means this is continuous data. If it's continuous data, your next interval should always start with what your last interval ended at. So my last one ended at 40.4. My next one will start at 40.4. And then you add 10.4 to that. So once again, 50.8. You're going to add 10.4 to it, which is 61.2. Add 10.4 to it. 71.6. And then add 10.4 to it. Gives me 82. And you'll notice 82 is my max. That is what I end with. So I am great. So let's get our frequency. So 30 to 40.4. Which numbers happen in between there? Well, 30 definitely happens. What else? 30, 38. That's 2. That's 3. That's 4. That's 5. That's 6. We got them all. Nope, that's 7. So there are 7. Okay, so these are all gone. Now 40.4 to 50.8. Well, definitely this. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. That's 4. That's 5 because it's still within the 50.8. That doesn't count the 52. 6, 7. So there are 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, these are all gone now. All right, 50.8 to 61.2. So let's do this. 50.8 to 61.2. So let's use a nice red here. So this one, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, and c'est la vie. That's it. So 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, let's go back to yellow. So 61.2 to 71.6. So, yep. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then finally, let's go back to blue here. We have 71.6 to 82. Well, that's the rest of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. If you add them all together, you should get 30. So 7 plus 7 plus 7, that's 21. Okay. 4 plus 4 is 8. It's 29. We are missing one. What are we missing? Yes, we're missing our 82. So there should be 8 here, actually. All right. So that's a quick way to check if you did anything wrong, actually. All right. And that's it. That's how you get your class intervals. Have a good day.